welcome back to another episode of Off the Shelf. This time, what we found off the shelf was... Gamera, the giant monster, which is like in this box set. It's right there. This is actually it was released in 1965. It's the Japanese version of the movie, which is the version I saw. I didn't watch the U.S. version, which was called Gamera the Invincible. But I like this movie. I think it's a classic kaiju movie, so I like monster movies, kaiju movies. And also dug out this old-ass shirt, Godzilla shirt, because I like kaiju movies. But, it's in black and white, and I actually saw that it was inspired by Godzilla, obviously, but it was also inspired by The Birds, which, yeah, it's like a disaster movie. This is a bit like a disaster movie, but the similarities kind of end there. But the person that made it, well, honestly, it's just Wikipedia information, so maybe I'm wrong here, but from on the Wikipedia, they said he was inspired by Godzilla and the Birds, which is, they're pretty different movies, but I don't know. But I enjoyed this movie. I feel like there should have been more. There was quite a bit of destruction in this movie, but I feel like there should have been more. I feel like I craved more Gamera destruction, because he did breathe fire in the movie, but he didn't really do much with the fire. He just kind of breathed it to scare off the humans, I guess. Like, he didn't really set anything on fire. He just kind of used it to scare people, I guess. Even though it's just kind of strange, and he likes fire, like, he loves fire, they say in the movie. So they try to use, like, fire to get him out of the water and get him on shore. And, all this shit happens, and I feel like it was just kind of, I just craved more. I like the movie. I liked it, but I feel like there should have been more destruction. Like, more city-wide, like, demolishing skyscrapers and shit, demolishing buildings. And he demolished a lighthouse, I guess. He demolished a lighthouse. And that's pretty much it. He destroyed a few power plants as well. I think he might have... Did he, destroy a plane at some point? A train. Yeah, he blew up a train. Train go boom, yeah, that's pretty much it with the, the destruction. Which, I guess they had limits. It was a fairly low-budget movie. So, I can't rag on it for too long, because I feel like they had, a limit for the amount of destruction they could have caused. And I bet the costume cost a lot of money, too, to, make. So, yeah. Honestly, I like a guy in a rubber suit. As much as, newer movies with all their fancy CGI looks cool, a guy in a rubber suit never gets old, And especially him, just stomping on, models of cities and stuff is really fun. It's a little goofy looking, sure, but I just think there's a certain charm to a guy in a suit over just, CGI, I'm always a fan of practical over, CGI, I always preferred practical effects over, CGI, because I just, it has the charm, it feels like a movie, because in a movie, you have to, work on it. You can't just do everything with CGI, but nowadays it just feels like they're doing everything with CGI, and I feel like nowadays practical effects are just a tradition that most people don't follow anymore, and I kind of don't, I don't like that, I don't want movies to completely switch to CGI. Practical effects look nice, and I like them. I mean, they had to use practical effects before. They actually, I'm going on a rant about CGI and practical effects. I'm gonna get back to the movie, but anyway, I think I like the rubber suits. I like them, but that doesn't mean I hate the CGI. I just think the rubber suits have charm that the CGI doesn't. So basically, the plot is about these guys. They're going into the Arctic, and these planes, these unidentified planes, are flying into like private, like no-fly zones, and they shoot down one of the planes. The U.S. Air Force shoots down one of these planes. It crashes into the Arctic thing, and it had like an A bomb or like a nuclear bomb on there, like a bomb on there, and it blew up, and it awakened Gamera from his hibernation, and he got pissed off, and he started going on a giant rage-fueled destruction because he was pissed off that they interrupted his beauty rest. But yeah, that's basically it. He's mad because they woke him up from his hibernation, and then the humans are trying to stop him, and at the end of the movie, they put him in a rocket and they fly him all the way to Mars. Yeah, it's pretty simple. I mean, there's a little bit more to it than that, but that's pretty much the gist of it. That's the movie. It's pretty simple, but a lot of movies at the time were pretty simple. Not all of them, but a lot of movies at that time didn't have super like complex or super in-depth plots. You know, they were just kind of bad guy and good guy, and the good guy stopped the bad guy. Kind of. A little bit. I mean, they just kind of take the problem and push it somewhere else. But, you know. I feel like the way this movie compares to Godzilla, honestly, I got a different experience out of this movie over Godzilla, because the original Godzilla from the 50s is like a bit of a horror movie. You know, it's a bit like a scary movie, because Godzilla's like terrifying in that movie. But Gamera, it's not really horror. It's like a campy, really ridiculous, really like kind of dumb fun monster movie. You know, doesn't take it. I feel like the movie is trying to take itself seriously at the time, but you can't really take it seriously nowadays because of like, you know, standards and all that. And like writing standards have kind of increased over the years. But I feel like Godzilla's more. I think I can take Godzilla more seriously than Gamera, but that's just my personal opinion. But I definitely think Godzilla's scarier looking than Gamera. I think Gamera's just kind of silly. He's kind of goofy looking, because he's literally like Godzilla's like a giant lizard reptile thing, and he's a little scary, right? Because he's like big until they like made him look derpy in the later movies. But Gamera kind of looks not derpy, but he looks a little funny, because he's literally a giant snapper turtle. So, like, they reference it multiple times that he is a giant turtle. Just giant turtle. I'm fine with that, but it's a little funny. You have to admit, it's a little funny. Well, I think the tone of the movies as well. Like, Godzilla's more scary, like a horror film, while this movie is more campy, it's more ridiculous, it's more dumb fun. You know, it's not really scary. You know, it's not really horror at all. Like, Gamera isn't really portrayed to be this, like, terrifying beast. He's like, well, he's a giant turtle. Like, that's just kind of how they represent him. Which is fine. Like, the movies aren't trying to be the same thing, I don't think. I don't think Gamera's trying to be like Godzilla. But I feel like, personally, Godzilla is more, what would you say? What's the word? Like, maybe more, yeah, I think just Godzilla's trying to be scarier, and this movie's just kind of goofy, you know? But those two things have their own strengths, you know? Just because it's goofy doesn't mean it's bad. And I think, yeah, I don't think it's taking itself very seriously, which is a good thing, because the plot is a little ridiculous. A giant turtle destroying things because it can inhale energy and breathe fire. A giant turtle that breathes fire. You can't really take that very seriously. And I think the movie knows that, and it's just trying to be fun. And I like that. I like when movies know that the plot is ridiculous and they just embrace it. So, yeah, I like this movie. And I think it has its own strengths that differentiate it enough from Godzilla. So I think I'd recommend this film if you're a fan of kaiju films, Godzilla. You know, if you're a fan of kaiju films, you've like probably already seen this movie. But if you haven't, highly recommend it. Even though you've probably already seen it if you like kaiju movies. This is like up there with one of the movies you've probably already seen. But if you're just getting into kaiju movies, though, I think this is a nice starter movie. You know, then you could get into the more sequels and shit. Or you could always start with the first Godzilla, you know, start somewhere. But I think this is also one of the good starter kaiju movies. But yeah, if you're new to kaiju movies, highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. So I think I'd rate this film, I'd give it a rating. I think I'd give this film like a 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10. It's good. And I think I've said my piece. You know, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you liked it. Share it with your friends. Subscribe. Turn those notifications on. Comment down below on how much you liked it. And I've been running out of time HD. And see you next time on Off the Shelf. Signing off. Can't do that.